Hello, my friends. Today we are about to do some basic skin retouching to this image here that I took last week with creative team of mine. This is our model Sierra. We're going to be talking about how to do, in one simple tool, a basic retouch focusing on blemish removal and skin smoothing. So this right here, the before image, and if we scoot over here, that side, this is the after image. With this tool that and technique that I'm about to show you guys, it's very, very slow. This is definitely not my preferred way of doing this technique when it comes to skin smoothing, but nonetheless, my goal is to show you guys all the techniques that are available so that you can make an educated decision as far as which technique is going to be best suited for you. But in about 5 minutes, I was only able to get just through the forehead right here. But that's the before and after. That's what we're going to be tackling right now. So let's head over into Photoshop. As with all the videos that we're posting on this channel, as far as Photoshop is concerned, I am using a Wacom or Wacom tablet. There are function keys that are on the tablet that have been customized. I will be doing a video on how to actually customize and set this tablet up for usage with Photoshop and Lightroom and a couple other software programs. But long story short, the only shortcuts that you need to know is that I'm going to be using Command Option Z, which is backspace, and that's a function key that's already set up on my tablet. I am using the included stylus as well, so I will not be using a trackpad to do any of this stuff that you're going to see me do. So first things first, load the image up into Photoshop. We're going to hit right here and select New Layer. The only reason I'm doing this is that I prefer to work non-destructively, and to do so, it's best to start working on new layers and then changing the blend modes and a couple other key factors that will allow you to do a non-destructive retouching technique or skin smoothing technique on that blank layer, as opposed to the main bottom layer, which is that background layer that's locked right here. I prefer to work on these guys. So we're going to start with opening up a new layer on normal. 100% opacity, fill 100%. We're not changing any of those settings. So we're going to go right here over to our brush panels that have the spot healing brush tool. And today we're actually going to be using the patch tool. So let's kind of zoom in because we were not going to be able to get super far in just a handful of minutes. This tool is a little bit slower. I don't normally use this tool for the full purpose that I'm showing you guys, but again, goals to showcase how to do some of this stuff. I do use this tool, however, quite often, but just not for the purpose that I'm going to show you guys right now. So how do we use the patch tool on a blank layer? So you have to go up here. This is the brush settings for the patch tool. It's normally set to a patch of normal. We're going to actually set that to content aware so that we can go over here and select sample all layers. If you leave it here on normal, it's gonna go under the assumption that when you're patching on the actual layer that has pixels in it. This layer right here is just a blank layer. It doesn't have any information at all. Leaving that mode on normal only works if there's actually information there, whether it be color or an actual image, whatever they may be. It needs to see pixels to actually be able to patch. Since we're not doing it that way, we have to go down to content aware and then select sample all layers, which allows us to use this tool non-destructively. So I'm going to spend the next roughly about 6-7 minutes and just kind of show you how far we can get in that short amount of time, and then give you some talking points as far as best practices on how to use this tool, and then also best practices as far as how to set it up and what is it best at, and some of the kind of funky results that you can get if you're not really using it properly. But let's just jump right in, shall we? Just a heads up, when I'm using this particular tool, the way that it samples, it's going to be very laggy. Just letting you guys know as we kind of begin, just as a caveat. So what you're doing with the patch tool, you are literally just selecting an area, dragging over to an area that you'd prefer to be. It's already getting blurry, but you're basically just dragging around a blemish or an area, and then you're going to like click and drag. And then Photoshop is going to analyze the color, texture, and tone of that area that you are moving the sample to, and then it's going to basically use an algorithm, and based on where you actually want that layer to be pasted or put down, it's going to do its best to blend it according to some of the settings that you have up here. I need to do a little bit more research as far as when you're doing this technique, utilizing it in a non-destructive manner. How do these two settings right here, as well as also these functions over here, impact that? So there'll be a future video as I figure out how that actually changes things, because I'm sure surely it's definitely changing something. But that's basically what you're doing. So you're just going to drag over a blemish and then just boom. Hey, I'm telling Photoshop I'd rather this skin from where I'm dragging right here be placed in that position right there. So that's literally it. So we're gonna spend the next, it's been about 5 minutes so far, so we're gonna spend another 4 or 5 minutes here, and we're just gonna see how far we can get. As with all healing related tools, they become blurry after a certain point. Each of them has different points that they actually get blurry, and you start to lose detail. As you can see right here, it's kind of just blurry. I will do a future video on how to fix that specific issue, but for the time being right now, we're not going to focus on how to actually fix that. Just know that if you go over and you're doing a very large sample with all of these healing tools, they're going to get blurry. But unless you're zooming into the same magnification level that I'm zooming into right now, you're never going to notice that it's actually blurry. Just being honest. If this is a massive print in a billboard type of situation, then maybe you will notice it if people are very close to the photo. But on Instagram, you'll never see this loss of detail right here. So you don't really have to worry about it, but there is a way to fix that and recover some of that detail, because it does get really, really blurry. That's just kind of how this tool functions in a lot of cases. There are ways to fix it, however. But yeah, you guys just can kind of see me just kind of strolling around, just doing some jazz here. I'm going to try to do this as fast as possible so I don't bore you to tears with how tedious this specific technique can be. But then I also will show you how far we're getting here. I'm spending maybe another 3 or 4, yeah, maybe just 3 more minutes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. And like I was saying before, after a certain point, the computer is going to just basically start to bog down. We're basically at that point here because I am recording a video, and it's not very good when it comes to this situation. This is a very difficult task for the computer because of how much of an area this tool actually samples from, especially something like this, like a larger blemish like that. As far as best times to really use the patch tool, because I'm just showing you guys really in theory how it works and how to use it. But as far as best practices, the patch tool is definitely best when you're doing longer, more wrinkles and longer blemishes as opposed to these smaller ones. It does okay with the smaller ones. Not saying that it's bad or anything like that. It's totally usable, but it's just a really slow way to do this process. There's just much faster techniques. But when it comes to getting rid of full wrinkles, though, the patch tool works absolutely fantastically. Because you can just drag and do a selection over the entire wrinkle and then just go down. Granted, that's probably not going to be perfect. You may need to kind of recover some of that detail right here because it did get a little bit blurry. Recover some of that detail and then put some of the texture back over there. But in literally 5 or 6 seconds, you're able to get rid of this entire wrinkle. In like literally no, it doesn't take any effort at all. Yeah, I mean the patch tool is in those situations is the best. It's good for getting rid of stray hairs. It's good for fixing, I guess, weird textures and stuff like that in clothes and background elements. Anything that's really just a longer kind of obstruction or blemish that you want to fix is when the patch tool is going to be best to be used. Otherwise, you're better off using the clone and healing brush and painting tool, things of that nature. They just do this job a lot faster, a lot more efficiently, and they have better sampling algorithms in my experience. We'll do like another minute here. We'll just I'm just gonna go really quick. It's gonna be super blurry, but that's fine. I'm not really focused on making sure the samples are absolutely perfect. I just want to show you guys what's actually possible in just a few minutes with this tool. Doesn't really matter if some of the skin is going to be blurry. Again, that's not the purpose of this video. I'm not showing you how to fix that right now. We're literally just trying to get through and spend like 30 more seconds just to see how much more we can get rid of here, and then call it good. We're getting a lot further than I did when I originally did this. I guess I'm not being nearly as particular about it as I was before, which is great. Makes both of our lives easier. All right, and like 2 more. We'll do something over there. Okay, let's zoom out and see where we got. Okay, let's zoom out to right here. Granted, I did miss a couple of areas. Okay, so we'll go right about here. Let's go back to layers panel, and let's see how far we got in just about 5.5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, just like that. Granted, like I was saying before, a lot of the areas that I did use the patch tool over are a little bit blurry. They're like smudgy looking. If you zoom in close right around here especially, yeah, you can just see that it's just really blurry right around here. The goal of today's video is not to show you guys how to fix that. I'm literally just showing you what the patch tool is actually capable of doing. There is a way to fix that, however. We'll probably do a future video on how to fix that, but this is what we were able to do with just the patch tool. Now, this is not my preferred way of doing this, but again, goal is just to show you guys what is available, so you have another tool in your quiver, in your arsenal of what is actually possible. But I hope this kind of helps you guys kind of demystify what the patch tool is able to do. Some of the best tips. It's not great at edges. None of the tools that I'm showing you guys are good at edges, besides possibly the clone brush. Outside of that, just like with every video, guys, hit that saturated sub button right down here, and then also hit that like button if you like the video and you like the content. It was helpful. By all means, send us a comment if you have any questions. Shoot us an email. We are here to help you guys. 100%. I will show you guys all the techniques so that you guys have the ability to duplicate this in your own way, and then also figure out what workflow works for you guys. But until next time, my friends, peace out.